The action is well underway for the IEM Rio Major, and plenty of drama has already gone down in Brazil. My name is King Demps, this is HLTV Peek. Let's talk about the major. The Challengers stage went pretty much as expected in Brazil, with all of the favourites making it through to the Legend stage, bar one. OG. The European squad, ranked number 15 in the world, were one of the favourites to progress. However, losses to Fnatic, FURIA and IHC sent the organisation crashing out of its first ever major appearance. The Degster Slaps, they simply ran out of juice. Vitality and Cloud9 were two teams that did have a harder route than many expected. They suffered 2 losses to put them on the brink of elimination. However, both teams recovered and did make it through to the Legend stage in the end. We are now knee-deep in the Legend stage action, and shock, upsets and dramatic eliminations have already graced the stage in Brazil. The most incredible news thus far comes in the form of FaZe, the reigning major champions, current world number 1 and holders of the IEM Cologne and Katowice trophy, being eliminated from the tournament at this very early stage. Opening losses against Vitality and Cloud9, two top teams who were very high up on the HLTV pre-tournament power rankings, were understandable. However, a loss to Bad News Eagles, one of the lowest ranked teams still in attendance, was simply not acceptable. FaZe did not play well in the elimination game, and the Kosovars did. However, what is truly unforgivable is the fact that Carrigan took a risk in the veto by letting Bad News Eagles pick Vertigo, a map that FaZe usually permaban and one they had not played in over 6 months officially. As I'm sure you can guess, the gamble did not pay off, and FaZe have now recorded one of the worst performances at a major for a reigning champion in CSGO history. Not a great piece of history to be writing for yourself. After the game, the FaZe members were understandably despondent on social media, with Carrigan stating that the responsibility was on him. This was not the only shock exit, as Ninjas in Pyjamas also crashed out of the major with an 0-3 record. The Swedish side have generally impressed since adding in-game leader Alexi B, but they thoroughly underwhelmed in Rio. 2 close losses to Fnatic and Outsiders, followed up by a loss to the lowest ranked team still in the tournament, Sprout, 0-2. Talk about ending your campaign with a whimper. In more positive news, Cloud9 and home favourites FURIA are the 2 teams who have secured their playoff spots so far. Russian squad Cloud9 had a very slow start to their tournament in the Challenger stage. However, since then they have steadily ramped up to an impressive level. Their Legend stage run featured closely fought statement victories over pre-tournament favourites FaZe and Na'Vi, as well as a comfortable 2-0 demolition of Heroic. FURIA also cruised through with a 3-0 record, besting ENCE, Big and Spirit as they rode the wave of a passionate and loud home crowd. There is plenty more Counter-Strike left to be played in Rio, and you all know that the place to go is HLTV.org to stay up to date on all of the latest action. We also have a fancy new topic page where you can explore content relating directly to the IEM Rio Major. We have text interviews, video interviews, and all other kinds of content to bring that major vibe straight to you at home. A little bit of news to come out of the major that is not directly related to IEM Rio is the fact that the Americas will have 1 less spot at the next major, the Blast Paris Major. Valve distribute major slots based on a region's performance at the previous event, and seeing as the Americas only got 2 teams through to the Legend stage, that is Liquid and FURIA, their major spots will now go down from 6 to 5 for the event in Paris. Europe will be the region that grabs the extra slot, taking their number of teams up from 16 to 17. Obviously, the Counter-Strike world does not stop just because a major is on, and one of the biggest pieces of news to drop this week was the revelation that Spirit are conducting an internal investigation into their AWPA Wonderful, alongside an ESIC investigation following accusations of match fixing. The accusations date back to 2020 when the Ukrainian briefly played for a team called Majesty, where he was supposedly paid to fix ESEA matches. The accuser's name is Alexei Yarobo-Kurlov, a man who spent 3 months as an ESEC investigator before leaving the organization. Now, those are the basics, but there is a lot more detail surrounding this story, particularly around Wonderful's accuser, Yarobo. Richard Lewis of Deserto recently did a 3-part investigation into Yarobo, as he has leveled many accusations against a wide range of players and organizations, seemingly without providing any real proof. He also supposedly left ESEC in acrimonious circumstances, with a source within the ESEC organization stating that Yarobo did not pass his 3-month probation and since has had a professional tantrum regarding the matter. We thoroughly recommend checking out the HLTV article on the news, as well as Deserto's investigations, in order to get the full picture surrounding this revelation. In some more light-hearted news, the Red Bull Flick Invitational in Copenhagen, an event I'll be attending by the way, has announced the duos that will be taking part in the fun 2v2 tournament. The 2v2 tournament takes place on custom maps with a fun King of the Hill style custom game mode, and professional players like Flames, Monacy and Cadian will all be taking the stage in order to compete and show who the best duo really is. Check out the article for a full list of the duos that will be taking part. And of course, it would not be an episode of Peek without some roster news, and the most dramatic changes this week were made by Eternal Fire. They have parted ways with their coach Hardstyle, as well as players Paz and Woxic. The Turkish squad has entirely imploded following their failure to qualify for the IEM Rio Major, with Major only having departed the squad recently. Woxic specifically cited issues with the team structure and a lack of results as his reason for benching himself, and he did say that he hopes to continue playing with an international project in the future. As for who Eternal Fire are going to be picking up to replace the players they have lost, stay tuned. Meanwhile, Alex has confirmed his departure from Fnatic, whilst also stating that he intends to take a break from competition in order to focus on recovering from some health issues. We at HLTV wish Alex a speedy recovery. And Pekka has replaced Nyack as the general manager of G2. This news comes not long after the team's failure to qualify for the IEM Rio Major and the departure of head coach Extaz. Make sure that you subscribe and like the video if you want to see more like it, and head over to hltv.org to stay up to date with everything Counter-Strike related. As usual, repeat in a week for another episode, but until then, goodbye for now.